Welcome back to Toriko Anime Review, Part 5. Yes, this is Part 5. This one I'm covering the 98 to 113, which is the Bubble Fruit arc and the Golden Wheat arc. I'm also going to cover the crossover with the third crossover with One Piece, which is also a crossover with DBZ as well. And I'm also going to talk about the second film of the series, Toriko the movie, Bishokushin Specimen, basically Gourmet Core. First up, let's talk about the crossover between One Piece and DBZ. Of course, also, with Toriko. Yeah, this one does involve pretty much the entire main cast of Toriko, along with pretty much the entirety of One Piece and DBZ. In the case of DBZ, it seems like he threw in like almost the entire thing with the Z fighters. Yeah, through them, their families, everybody, which is a bit surprising. I mean, it seems like I can't think of anybody they didn't throw into this crossover. I mean, I can't personally think of it. In the case of One Piece, it's just mostly the Straw Hat Crew. Toriko, they threw in pretty much the entire franchise in this one. Though it's just the four Heavenly Kings, Rin, Komatsu, Manson anyways, and Granny Shinro, who actually just played a part in later on arcs. Let's see. I think that's it. Yep. That's all they threw in, but at least a small chunk of the cast. They didn't even throw in the president of the IGO, which that would have been interesting. Yeah, it would have been interesting seeing him or any other character, but it's nice we got here. Now, where does it take place in any of the three franchises? DBZ, easy. Takes place right after they defeated Majin Buu. Very simple as that. In the case of One Piece, I'm not really sure exactly where the heck this film takes place. Or at least this crossover. If I would take a stab at it, it could be after the film Z. That could be. It could be after that one. It's just a theory. Toriko, I have no idea. That's the thing with these crossovers. From Toriko's perspective, I don't know where you can fit this in the franchise. For One Piece, the first two crossovers easily fit those two in. Toriko, I have no idea. But the whole point of this one is to get their hands on this fish. But it's overall a great story. It's a great crossover. And I think the people at Toei, the Toei Anime, the people who made this episode, they must have a blast making this episode because like almost every character gets a chance to do something. Well, in the case of DBZ, pretty much everybody from that franchise gets a chance to do something. Except for Krillin. He doesn't do anything because he's still retired. But all the rest do. In the case of the One Piece, the Straw Hat Crew, all of them except for Usopp gets a chance to do something. Toriko, from what I can tell in the course of fighting, I'd say just about mostly everybody except for Zebra. He doesn't do much. He shows up for like 2 quick scenes. All he does is just fight Vegeta and Zoro, which is the funniest scene in the entire hour-long episode because it's, of course, crossover with One Piece as well. And would it be nice if this was dubbed and all three, like, you have Zoro and Vegeta, who in the dub was voiced by Christopher Sabat. Now, I think anybody can agree with me that Christopher Sabat would be perfect for Zebra. His voice is absolutely perfect for it. Why? Because he has that particular voice to voice a character as intimidating as Zebra. Imagine hearing Christopher Sabat's voice come out the mouth of all three of these characters. That would have been interesting. But too bad this episode was never dubbed, due to the fact Funimation does not have the dub rights for this particular thing. I'm still wondering how in the world did they lose the rights to dub this particular series. I mean, they only dubbed 51 episodes out of 147, which is stupid. I mean, come on, at least actually bother to finish dubbing. I don't know why they stopped for. I've not found out the reasoning for this. Is the dub bad? No, it is not. It's actually really damn good because Funimation always does a really good job when it comes to dubbing. But good story. Meteor now in the case of Bubble, I think it's called Bubble Fruit. Now, it takes a few episodes for this to get through, because in the first episode, they're asked by the press to look for this thing. In the first part, though, Toriko's kind of depressed because he can't find the dang thing. And of course, he's there, and also this special pot, which is frozen. Of course, they had to hold this off for one episode because of the crossover. This does happen in episode 100, which, well, great way to spend a 100th episode. Have all four Heavenly Kings, Rin, Komatsu. I think I know Yem shows up in the story, and this is just a pure fun episode of the four Heavenly Kings going fishing. Yep. Of course, Rin hangs out with Toriko, and it just seems like for these episodes, it seems like that Toriko doesn't mind having Rin on his arm. He doesn't mind at all. As a matter of fact, I think he enjoys it. At first, he's kind of like Goku whenever Chi-Chi was holding onto his arm. Yeah, this was before they got married and had Gohan and Goten. Yeah, though some could say that Toriko himself is actually his personality is partially based upon Goku, and you could say Rin is probably partially based upon Chi-Chi, the way she was during Dragon Ball during the last official arc of the series, when she got older, when she really wanted to marry Goku and that stuff. That's the way it looks to me. But they're fishing for this Madam Fish, which is underneath this frozen. And it turns out this was actually done on purpose because Granny Shanaru's apprentice, No, that's her name, No, a chef who kind of looks like a younger version of her, but with green hair and cute woman. And she just popped up now, and she doesn't do very much aside from cooking for. She's always with Granny Shanaru, yeah. And of course, after this episode, as far as I can tell, the other three Heavenly Kings and Rin do not physically show up in the series after this one for a little while. It doesn't show up for, I'd say, a good up until the next arc. And then pretty much from episode, after they get the Madam Fish, which they were asked this back in episode 98, from episodes 101 to I think it's 103-ish, they are searching for ingredients to build this gigantic beanstalk of a thing. What they're supposed to eat this thing to find this fruit. They do. It takes a while though one of them, though. There was one funny episode when they kind of get this particular thing which stinks. Apparently they get all the stink off because everybody's fading. Even Sunny is fading. I thought it was so funny. Yeah. Because apparently they had to wait a whole month for the stink to wear off. And apparently they waited enough. So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, after they get all the food, they... of course, this particular force here, who basically looks like a luchador wrestler. As a matter of fact, he puts this thing together as this gigantic, I don't know, kind of like a stuffed roll type of thing, a giant one, mind you. And he does this in a wrestling ring built on top of a giant cutting board. Yeah, and he's using a bunch of wrestling. It's like a body slam, a Tenga hold, like a bunch of wrestling moves. But yeah, and of course he's actually one of four. He's one of quintuplets. Yeah, because they also meet his brother, who keeps calling people idiot. And of course, this guy calls people morons. Yeah, and then they go eat this thing, and of course this even caused a traffic jam. I'm not kidding about this. They caused a serious traffic jam, and then they get to the thing oh, the thing has disappeared. Like this big scoop out of the ground, and of course they chase this particular guy, and it turns out this part of this famous restaurant is known as Disappearing Cuisine, and they meet one of the chefs who actually did show up during, I believe it was one of the previous arcs when they heard the food. I think it wasn't Shining Gourmand. I think it might have. Oh yeah, it was actually in the Meter Garlic arc. Yeah, it was actually in the very previous arc. I think it was. I'm trying to think. Was it? I think it was. It was just one of the previous arcs. This particular chef, who the voice actor sounds like a woman, even though this is a guy. Even though it sounds like a woman. And they had time spent eating, and of course they ran into Master Chin Chin, who did appear during the Shining Gourmand arc. Mm-hmm. and he comes back and teaches about food on it, which I do remember this pretty well. They actually do pretty much mostly put this arc pretty much proceeds exactly how it's presented in the manga. And eventually, his old partner shows up, Granny Chio, who has joined the Gourmet Corps. Oh yeah, if you see this woman, she's not like any normal old lady. She apparently has no nose. Her face is flat. Yeah, there's no nose on her face. And it turns out the reason why she hates Chin Chin is because their son died. Yeah, their son died. And she wants she wants the hors d'oeuvre course of the god of gourmet hunter. I think his name's Akida, I think his name is. It's not Al-Qaeda. It's a different name. It's I think it's Al-Qadimi. I think that's how you pronounce the guy's name. Who later on I heard that this guy is supposed to be Toriko's father. Yeah, his biological father. And they're looking for his hors d'oeuvre, which apparently is kept secret from everybody. Like nobody knows where it is. And of course, they mention stuff that happened during Toriko's break. They mention that here about that gourmet temple. They mention that there. They go through the training, and some of the things like really much like trying to eat beans with a 5-foot chopsticks, and later on 10-foot chopsticks, which is ridiculous. And they also had this display appreciation and gratitude for these torch candles. Yeah, and then they eventually eat these bubble fruit, and Toriko goes really strong, and his hair goes like really long. It kind of reminds me of, I'm trying to think of his name. It was Yusuke from Yu Hakusho. He kind of looks like him with that long hair of his. Yeah. So he manages to sort of defeat Granny Chio by destroying her special knives, which apparently they cost 100 million yen apiece, which sounds like a lot of money, but I have no idea how much yen is in U.S. currency. Mm-hmm. And of course, Starjin shows up. Of course, Take, who had been taking the previous arc, he has like veins on his face, and he has gourmet cells, which was ingested. It was actually injected into him. That's the reason why his face looks like that. And he's Starjin's partner. Though he kind of reveals that the leader of the Gourmet Corps is all the chefs are all his partners. Yeah. But then like right after this arc is over, then we have of course Kamachu's cooking skills improve tremendously, and of course Toriko, his fighting skills improve also as well. And then we have the Golden Wheat arc, which is a quick little two-parter, which this is also the last filler arc of the series. Yeah, the last one and the third to last arc of the anime. Yeah, there's only 2 more arcs left after this. Yeah, 2 more arcs. Yeah, this one, Tom takes Komatsu, Toriko to this, on his boat, takes him to this island, which the fishermen kind of point in there because of the golden wheat. They also run into a GT robot, which apparently the operator of this one is also responsible for stealing the Century Soup and knocking out Komatsu way back in the Century Soup arc. Yeah, so this is the first this character's active in, like, let's see, it's been like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is the first time he's been active in 10 arcs. So, yeah, and the reason why he's there, the Infinite B. That's the only reason why he's there. And they got up the wheat, and eventually, and they're hired by Granny Shenro to get this. And of course, when she first shows up, everyone's like so shocked to see her because she's a famous celebrity. It's like, oh look, it's legendary human treasure, the legendary human treasure, Granny Shenro. Of course, I call that because that's what Toriko calls her. Yeah, of course, and this happened like right at the start of the episode when they're in the Hotel Gourmand. Yep, which is really good, interesting. And of course, they get back, and it turns out she had no idea that the Gourmet Corps was going to show up at the island. But then they make this special noodle thing, and then later on, Reen shows up and eats a thing. Tina shows up. Coco, Sunny, like everybody shows up for this thing, and it gets on the news. Apparently, Tina didn't get a chance to record anything. Now, she was absent in the previous arc. I guess they figured, though, why not bring her back? Because why not? It's not a bad idea. At least she's there for all 3 filler arcs. Yeah, and of course, the ending of this particular arc leads into this film by having the main villain introduced and kind of set up stuff for the actual film. And now we can talk about the actual film, the special menu, where it starts off with Tommy Rod, Starry Jew, and Grinjin. First time anybody's seen this guy since the BB Corn arc. Yeah, this guy has been absent for a long time. And I should point out, though, the animation in this thing is fantastic. It's higher animation style than it is in the actual series, probably because it's a big budget film. This film was only an hour and 20 minutes, which is longer than the last one, which was only 40 minutes, which I'm like, that's kind of short for a film. But yeah, and in terms of this guy, steals the Infinite Bee, goes to the Biodome to get the main course. So, and of course, the film first opens prior to this one when Komatsu and Toriko are basically walking to this special fair, which apparently can eat the attractions, and they go with Reen, and Reen thinks it's kind of like a date with Toriko, which is kind of funny. Yeah, and then they're brought to with Terry Cloth. They're brought to the original first Biodome, which is an actual dome. And this is by far a fun movie. And of course, not only do we have these three characters, but of course Terry Cloth, we also have the Air Three Heavenly Kings, the President of the IGO, Jiro the Naki Master, Toppoli, Toppoli's Master. I don't remember the guy's name though. Oh, I almost forgot that they did have one episode during the previous one. They have like the whole staff of the zeroth isotope in the gourmet world. They had pretty much the entire group. Heck, even Milk the First shows up. First time I have personally seen him. I mean, if you've watched the series, first time he's shown up since the Milk Stardust arc, which is nice. The fact they threw him in here. Yeah, that was particularly. But now back to the film, and they and turns out Tina, who actually does a little bit of this film, she is supposed to, instead of like go out recording stuff, she's supposed to organize his library because apparently she's not getting enough footage or scoop, whatever. And she knocks out a whole bunch of bookshelves, and she comes across a photo of Granny Shinro and this old friend of hers, and she goes straight to visit her right away, and she asks about, it's like, just no friend of mine. And they talk about, of course, Zangu shows up, like, is it just me, or is this guy love showing whatever Tina does? Because it's just by sheer coincidence that, like, ever since this guy first showed up in the Puffer Wear arc, it seems like every time Tina shows up, this guy has to show up. I don't know why. No, he didn't show up at the end of the previous one. But yeah, he doesn't do anything at all. Him and his two buddies. And like right after they show up, a little while, then the door opens and it's Jiren, the president of the IGO, Toppoli's Master. I think that's it. Yeah, and then of course they go fly out on the ice up on Granny Shinro's limousine jellyfish. Yep. And when they get there, they're confronted by the Gourmet Corps and their army of GT robots. And then while Tina and Zagu and his two associates stay in while this limousine jellyfish was taken down by them, they decided to have the GT robots take on these four people. And we also see of how Jiro goes from old to young. Apparently he could do it at will for some reason. And him, the president of the IGO, Toppoli's Master, and Granny Shinro decided to go to this all-out brawl with the GT robots. It is an awesome fight. And while everybody's like, it seems like for this film, like every single character who's a fighter gets a chance to do something. And this is one badass of a scene. Like, four people who are, well, like almost something you could probably consider to be senior citizens, and they can still kick butt at their age. Yeah, especially as the president just rolling up his sleeves, just flicking the robots like this the whole time. Yeah. And of course, the top of these masters get back up because, of course, the top of this dome is gone. And of course, the four Heavenly Kings, when they show up, it's a really badass of an interest. First, Coco shows up, and then Sunny shows up. Because, well, they also have GT robots show up here as well. And when Sunny sees Grimjin, he's like, this guy's gross. Yeah, it's like Max gross. He doesn't really like the guy's appearance at all because, well, the guy's all about beauty. So why not for him to say that? But this is also the first time he's ever seen this guy. Yeah, it's so funny. And in case you wonder, despite the fact Tommy, Rod, and Sorry didn't show up in this movie, with the exception of the opening scene where they briefly take on the main villain, they do nothing. They just sit in the sidelines the whole time, let all the heroes do all the fighting. Yeah, but of course the guy does release this guy's one of his ingredients, which is this legendary fire wolf dragon, which apparently the thing is like extinct. That's why I think this is the only one left. Of course, he consumes it. Zebra shows like complete like I'm thinking though, Zebra shows up in a minute and boom, he shows up like the way he normally does, doing this little sound voice face thing, which is nice. And then eventually they defeat him after a long. Well, first they take out the dragon. Of course, the dragon gets eaten by the main villain. Then they have after a long ass battle, they finally defeat. Of course, Toriko gets like famished, goes through his special red mode. Damn it! Look, I have to say there. Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to hold off talk about the rest of this film. So this will be part 1 of 2. I will talk about the rest of the film later. I've got to go. Okay? I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.